The one who is all wise gives wisdom to whom He chooses. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala yu'ti al-hikmata man yasha, gives wisdom to whom He chooses. Wa man yu'ta al-hikma, and whoever is the recipient of wisdom, whoever is given wisdom, faqad utiya madha khayran kathira, and he has been given khayran kathira. He has been given tremendous good, or an abundance of tremendous good. And Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions, as other scholars have mentioned, the scholars of Tafsir and other scholars, that khayran kathiran huna, and this word khayran is a nakira. It is a nakira, meaning that it is a what? What is a nakira? What kind of noun? Indefinite noun. A nakira is an indefinite noun, meaning a something. It says of the something. Right? A definite noun is the something. Any proper title or the word the before a thing, alif lam of ta'arif, the lam of ta'arif before a thing. And so Allah said khayran kathiran, and this way of speaking in the Arabic language, and he using a tankir in the siyaq of the minna of Allah, the favor and the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is dalalatun ala ta'zim, is indicative of the greatness of that thing. It shows the greatness of that thing. Khayran kathiran, meaning khayran aziman kathira, tremendous, abundant, copious, good, an awesome amount of good, meaning beyond what any human mind can comprehend. Beyond what any human mind can comprehend. This da'wah of the prophets and the messengers, alayhim as-salatu was-salam, man tasharat ila aidi, has never spread in any time or any place except at the hands of ulama, scholars, ruhama, uqala, hukama, as was said by Shaykh Rabi' ibn Hadi al-Madkhali, has never spread except at the hands of scholars who are merciful and intelligent and people of wisdom. And people of wisdom. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by way of this favor of His, giving wisdom to whom He chooses, to those that are ahlan lah, ahlan laha, and those who are suitable for it, to be the carriers of wisdom. May Allah make us from them. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them khayran kathira. Hadith wa la haraj. And whatever you can mention of good, that is meant and then some. That is meant and then some. Al-Imām Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he says in his book A'lam al-Muwaqqi'een an Rabbil Alameen, he says, may Allah have mercy upon him, a very famous statement, an often quoted statement of his from this book. He says, فَإِنَّ شَرِيعَةَ مَبْنَاهَا وَأَسَاسَهَا عَلَى الْحِكَمِ وَمَصَالِحِ الْعِبَادِ فِي الْمَعَاشِ وَالْمَعَادِ. That the entirety of the Sharia, and the Sharia is all of Islam, the entirety of the Sharia of Islam is built upon and structured upon al-hikam, upon wisdoms, وَمَصَالِحِ الْعِبَادِ فِي الْمَعَاشِ وَالْمَعَادِ, and that which is of a greater good for the worshippers, for mankind, for the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fil ma'ashi wal ma'ad, in this current life, in this world, and in the ma'ad, on the day of the return to Allah, and the hereafter. Wa hiya adlun kulluha, and the entirety of it is justice. Wa masalihun kulluha, all of it is a maslaha, a greater good for mankind. Meaning every matter of belief that a person learns in a broad sense or in a detailed sense, learning the details of the matters of belief or learning them in a broad sense, then they are learning wisdom. Every commandment that Allah has issued as it relates to His rights and the rights of His creation, then a person has learned something of wisdom. And when they act upon it, then they have acted upon something of wisdom, and they are deserving, therefore, of being described to some level as a person of wisdom, as we'll come to see, inshaAllah ta'ala. Every matter of akhlaq, of good character, every matter of adab, of dignified conduct, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam loved, and that is naturally loved by mankind, as Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala said in his book, Miftah Dar Sa'ada, that all of the matters of good character, that they are from the fitrah of the human being, to love. It is from the fitrah of the human being to love justice, and truthfulness, and integrity, and courage, and generosity, and so on and so forth. And so everything that a person learns in the Sharia, and acts upon in the Sharia, because the scholars say that the word wisdom, a number of the scholars, particularly scholars of the Arabic language in the past, have said that the word wisdom has more of a connection to action than it does to knowledge. To action than it does to knowledge. Meaning it is something that is manifested in what you do and how you do it, as opposed to what you know. It's not a matter of just collecting data and facts and having factual information and so on and so forth. That is just a part of it. The more a person knows and the more they act upon this religion and are persistent upon them and have a sustainable practice and a daily routine that they carry out as it relates to obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and drawing near to Allah and preparing for the hereafter, then the wiser they are. Then the wiser they are. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he said the entirety of it is justice. Wa rahmatun kulluha. The entirety of it is mercy. These are the cardinal virtues of Islam, justice and mercy. All of Islam is justice and mercy. وَمَصَالِحٌ كُلُّهَا وَحِكْمَةٌ كُلُّهَا. And it is all for the greater good of mankind, and it is all wisdom. فَكُلُّ مَسْأَلَةٍ خَرَجَتْ عَنِ الْعَدْلِ إِلَى الْجَوْرِ وَعَنِ الرَّحْمَةِ إِلَى ضِدِّهَا. Every single matter that departs from al-adl, from being something that is just and fair, and goes into oppression, or from rahmah, from mercy to its opposite. وَعَنَ الْمَصْلَحَةِ إِلَى الْمَفْسَدَةِ. And that departs from being of a greater good for people, and becomes harmful. وَعَنَ الْحِكْمَةِ إِلَى الْعَبَثِ. And away from, and departs away from wisdom, to being something that is purposeless and futile. فَلَيْسَتْ مِنَ الشَّرِيعَةِ وَإِنْ أُدْخِلَتْ فِيهَا بِالتَّأْوِيلِ وَإِنْ أُدْخِلَتْ فِيهَا بِالتَّأْوِيلِ. Then those matters are not from the Sharia, even if they are attributed to the Sharia and introduced into Islam by way of misinterpretation of Islam. فَالشَّرِيعَةُ عَدْلُ اللَّهِ بَيْنَ عِبَادِهِ. The Sharia is the justice of Allah between His servants. وَرَحْمَتُهُ بَيْنَ خَلْقِهِ. And His mercy between His creation. وَظِلُّهُ فِي أَرْضِهِ وَحِكْمَتُهُ الدَّالَةُ عَلَيْهِ وَعَلَى صِدْقِ رَسُولِهِ أَتَمَّ دَلَالَةٍ وَأَصْدَقَهَا. And it is the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that directs and points people back to Allah. That is a proof for the oneness of Allah and the greatness of Allah and the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be worshipped alone without partners. And that is a proof for the trueness of the messengership of Muhammad and the prophet of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, in the most perfect and true